always loved doing comics. And like every other creative person, it mattered to me what people said about my comics, but nobody said much in those early days. It wasn't until the later days, in the early days, it was like your mom and dad, and they said, yeah, that's great, that's beautiful, that's wonderful. But as you got older, and you got more sophisticated in your art and writing and editing and publishing skills, which these things eventually did evolve, I found out something in the early 70s. I found out something like 50 years ago, and that is that people who do comics, artists and writers and publishers and editors, have fragile egos. And I had a fragile ego too. My feelings got hurt. I mean, how could your feelings not get hurt? Because you work so hard, and you're amazed at what you're doing, because you're drawing comics and stuff, and they look pretty darn good. And somebody comes along. Now, if you have a group like the UFO, and they have a monthly. Originally, it was a monthly newsletter. Then it was a bi-monthly newsletter, and it still is 50 years later. And you have people that are going to critique. They're going to talk about the books that you've published, and sometimes they don't say it's the best thing ever, man. It's awesome. It's great. It's the best thing I've ever seen. Sometimes people don't say that. Once in a while, somebody says something like, "Well, I can see where you're coming from, but you could use a little improvement. Your inks could be a little better. Your panel layouts could be a little better, and the script could be a little better, and maybe the grammar that you're using isn't the best, and there are ways you can improve." And so in this group that I've been a part of, off and on for 50 years, people have had the nerve to say this. To say that, you are great, but you can be better. And, and I love your work, but here's where you can do better here, and here's where you can do better. I mean, it's not like, because a lot of people come into this expecting that, that you're going to say, gosh, what you're doing is outstanding. It's amazing. I love it. I love it so much. And, gosh, I just love it. And that's great. That's cool. Especially if it's true. But they're not helping you improve in any way. They're not helping you to be a better artist, or a better writer, better whatever, publisher, editor. They're not helping you in that respect. And but they're being honest, and they're trying to be helpful. I mean, but sometimes the reaction to that is that you're a jerk. You're an asshole. Why are you saying this to me? I did this and I worked hard on it, and you're telling me it's not perfect. But maybe that's not the intention of the person who's saying these things. Maybe they're just saying, well, here's where you can stand improvement. Now maybe you think that you don't need improvement. Maybe you think, okay, I've worked a long time and I've achieved what I set out to achieve, and this is what I want people to see. I mean, this I'm proud of this, and that's cool too. I mean, if you think that you've achieved something great, and maybe you have, probably, who knows, but you probably have achieved something great. But somebody's telling you, well, it could be a little greater, shut up. What I'm saying is that it's difficult for an artist, a writer, all of us. We're kind of fragile. We're kind of sensitive, and for us to say, for just to sit back and go after you've worked really hard. I mean, you worked really hard. You poured out your heart and your soul and everything into your creative endeavor. And now somebody's saying, well, you could have done a little better. Here's what you could have done better. You could have done this, and you could have done that. And but the reaction shouldn't be, you're an asshole. Leave me alone. What the hell is wrong with you? The reaction should be, thank you. Thank you for being honest with me. I appreciate it. I've done my best, and thanks to you and your advice, I will endeavor to do even better. Thank you so much. Now, it takes courage. It takes guts. When you've done that much work and you've worked that hard, for you to come out and say, wow, you're right. You're right. I worked hard on this, but you're right. I could be even better. I could do even better. Yeah. Constructive criticism. I mean, wow, it's a terrible thing, isn't it? But it's not. It's not a terrible thing. It's a necessary thing. It's a good thing. It's something we all need. And I mean, do you honestly think you've become so good, so great that you're beyond criticism? Do you? I have, but the rest, I'm just kidding. The rest of you guys, I'm just kidding. But look, I love you guys. I love all you guys, and I'm only saying this because I want you to understand that when other people criticize your work, it's not because they don't like you, or they don't like your work, or they hate you. It's because they want to give you advice, and this advice could be very helpful, and it can make you a better artist, a better writer. Listen to them. Listen to these people, because these are people. The reason they're giving this advice is because they care, because they like what you do. If they like what you do, then they'll say, hey, this is great, and here's a way it could be even greater. These are people who care. They're your friends. They're your pals. They're your fellow small press comics creators. I say listen to them, and keep on being the awesome talent that you are. Because the very fact that they're saying something means you have already impressed them in a certain way. You've already impressed them, and they just want to see you get better and better and better. That's all, folks. Have a nice evening. And stop looking at my pecs.